All right, so I'm going to learn how to make a game in Godot. Godot? I don't know what the actual way to pronounce that is. So I've been playing around with it a little bit and I've been learning a little bit about it. I've played around a little bit with 2D and I've played a little with 3D. And the idea of a game that I have is about little robots that help plants survive. So you would have a little robot that you can program to do things like keep track of how much water and the dampness of the soil of a particular plant. And as the game progresses, you have to get a little bit more clever with the plants and have them go find light for the plants and balance resources, and you program each of these individual little robots. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a 2D scene. And I haven't learned enough about the scenes to be able to make things like a title menu and different levels and various other things that I might need to. So I'm going to have to learn about that in the future. But for right now, my goal for this as just a first video is one, for me to just learn how to start streaming and making videos and to do a terrible job at it so I can improve. But also, the goal for this video is literally just to be able to make a window pop up when I click on a sprite. So I do know how to make a sprite. But it's been a little bit since I've done that. But let's see if I can remember how to do this. So I think it's an image texture, if I recall correctly. Canvas item material. And I believe I need to maybe I need to add a child node. Might be an animated sprite 2D. And that might need to be directly under here. But I do think one of the things I need to do is I'm going to open this in File Manager. And I have made some assets. So I'm just going to copy those into this folder. .godot. All right, that did create the assets in here. So I've got this little robot that I've been working on. It has legs. And okay, this is the correct way of doing it. So we've got sprite frames. And I believe now we get to, yeah, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add frames from a sprite sheet here. And I'm going to pick this little sprite sheet of this little set of legs. And I'm going to cut this up into thirds. And I am going to make no vertical cuts. I've made 16 by 16 sprites. And I haven't made any separation between any of them. And I'm going to add all three of these, and I'm going to make this just called stand. And then I'm going to duplicate this and make this walk. Okay. And so for stand, we don't need all of these frames. I believe we can zoom in here. Okay, I forgot how we do this, but I believe it has something to do with the filter nearest. There we go. Yep. Okay, so what this means is that it's not trying to anti-alias this when it's scaled. It just takes the nearest neighbor, which is a processing type for this. And this really shouldn't be anywhere near a tutorial because I don't know anywhere near enough to make a tutorial. But I guess I'm going to start doing that, or at least just talk about things as I learn them. But for walk, I do want this to be an animation. So what I need to do is for stand does not need this frame or this frame. And walk does not need that first frame. And then its little feet go doot, 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 doot. And when it's standing, it's just standing right there. So I'm going to go ahead and just save this as robot1. I'm guessing he's up there. One of the problems that I have not done yet is, let's just name this robot1. I don't need this sprite anymore. I do have this sprite, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a camera 2D. And this camera 2D is way too big. Or this is way too small. One of the two. Not entirely sure. So we can pop in here. Scale is 1:1, but I don't think that matters at all. So the scale, maybe I'll just make this little guy bigger. You can hold shift when you are clicking to make things scale evenly, and I think you can hold shift alt and it makes it center around the origin or the middle point. And I have absolutely no idea how to make it to where I can click on a guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to Google that. Signals to detect clicks. Okay, one of my goals with this project is to use zero AI, but to do so any sprites or any assets or whatsoever that I create are going to be created by me, as well as any scripts that are made. I've been playing around with the Godot scripts, and it's a fun mental challenge for me. So I'm going to go and create a script here, and I'm just going to call this robot1 main. And this will just be the main script. I might have subscripts of this. And so this is extending the animated sprite 2D. And I don't want to do that. I have messed up already. I can't control Z. I want to put this guy here, attach this script to robot1, and am I able to drag this onto here? I am. Okay, so now this script gets instantiated with robot1. So this script is now tied to this, and it should extend node. Although this was a node 2D. That's something else that I need to learn about, is what the difference between a node and a node 2D. I think it's just blank, or actually inside of the script, when you extend a node 2D versus a node, you get a different set of functions that can be called. So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. This should just stay an image. All right, I'm going to add a child node here, and this is going to be a 2D collision shape. Doesn't have to be super clever, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this. This is saying I haven't done anything with it yet, and that's true. So I'm going to switch over to the 2D view, and I am going to add a shape to this. And you can add a polygon shape to a collision shape 2D. I know you can do it. I don't remember how to do it. I think you can select something like this, and then you have to create new segments. Yeah, okay, I remember. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make this little collision shape into a little square here. And I'm actually going to make multiple collision shapes. And so this one right here, I'm going to rename as full body. Full body. Collision. And the reason why I'm talking about that is because I'm going to make, you know, little sensors that detect whether or not it's bumped into something, or I'm going to make a little sensor right here, and so as it moves around, it will be able to detect what it's standing on top of. But for right now, my only goal with this is just to make it to where when I click something, a menu will pop up. So I'm going to go back to my script here, and I'm going to take this full body collision and I'm going to drag it in there. I'm not sure what the difference. I think that's just a path to the robot when you just drag it on there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold control. I'm tired. I need to go to bed. And I'm going to hold click, and when I drop click, then it gives me an instance of this underneath the robot. So now I can call functions from this and get parameters from this. Now I'm going to copy something that I found on Reddit here into this extends node character body 2D. I'm not using a character body, but that's essentially what I've done here. So I don't need this, and I'm just going to make this easy to distinguish from the code that I'm pasting in and learning from and the code that I wrote. So the ready function is called after everything is ready. Now with just about any different type of programming where you are programming within an architecture, that architecture has multiple different things, like a connected callback, for instance, where once a script is loaded, it instantly calls, and then there's another one that when it's rendered it calls, and a callback, you know, whenever it's re-rendered or something along those lines. And so function ready, I think, means basically like everything has loaded and it's ready to go. I think there is a function called _init. Yep. And that runs basically as soon as the function is loaded. And this is really this is something that basically makes a race condition with just about everything that could be loaded inside of this. So for the most part, I don't think you would really want to use function init unless you're needing to make calculations before anything loads into the script. So I'm actually just not going to use this at all, and we're just going to use function ready. And pass just means you can make a function because you know you're going to use it later, and then just write pass, and pass allows it not to give an error that says that it expected an indented block after the function declaration. So you just write pass, and that gets rid of the error. So for this, they are bringing in the character body, and then on their function ready, they are saying input pickable true and input event connect on character input event. Well, I wish I knew a little bit more about what this means. So input pickable. So let's go look at the Godot documentation. Okay, so it looks like I need to take both of these and put these into my ready function. And instead of character body 2D, we're going to do robot full body collision that we're bringing in. So basically this has defined the shape inside of robot, and then I call it inside of the script, and I say that its property input pickable is equal to true. So let's do the same thing here. And I believe I should be able to write this. I like to write things by hand because it puts them into my brain. So robot full body collision, input event. Uh-oh. Can input event be put onto anything? It does not look like it. Okay. So I might not be able to use the full body collision for this. I might need to. Let's see if node 2D. So if you click any of robot 1, if that works. So I believe you can just say input pickable. That doesn't work. Node 2D dot input. Headphones just died. That's okay, I didn't need those. Well, that might be stuck already. Let's see if I can do this on the animated sprite. So hold control and animated sprite.2d dot input pickable. It might just not show up in the code hints here, so let's just try to do this. On character input event. Okay. And then print event. So this is just oh. Okay, so now there's this function that I didn't know about called onCharacterInputEvent. We're going to print the event. Now, I don't think that I have played with signals yet at this particular point in time. So at least one collision layer to be set. Let's just give this a try and see what happens. All right. Looks like I need to watch this video, and let's see if I can pause a stream and come back. It does not look like I can. Alright, well then I'll make a second video.